On today's webinar, we have an excellent guest, Keiichi Matsumoto. Today, we're going to be discussing something that's very interesting. It's something that a lot of innovation experts or innovation professionals want to learn a little bit more about. And specifically, what we're going to be talking about is what Keiichi is, how he is able to, go about integrating the innovation department within all the other departments at his company, which is Yamato. So my first question for you would be actually, if you don't mind giving a quick introduction about yourself, what is your role? What are you working on? Where's your company based? And how big is your team?
Sure, of course. So I'm Kei from Yamato Transport USA. I'm a manager of digital innovation. And basically, I'm based in Bay Area for tech scouting and startup scouting. And we have a corporate venture fund in Japan. So I'm looking for the opportunity for investment side as well. So basically, I'm co-working with our innovation team in Japan. So for business development perspective.
That's very interesting. So if you don't mind, well, what's like a day-to-day in your life? Like, what are some things that you do?
Yeah, of course. We have a couple of partner for innovation. Like for example, we are a limited partner of the venture capital, and also accelerator program as well. And so basically I talk to them weekly, and then I share our interest for our partners, and then we are discussing about what we are looking for as a tech perspective and also a business perspective, and they give us a suggestion for startups, and also I look for startups myself, and then looking for contact with those our partners.
A little bit off topic, but Keiichi, are you ever looking for startups to help out Yamato, and you actually end up finding something that's even good for your portfolio? Or are you in the investment space at all? Just an off topic.
We have both use case. For example, I found one of a startup in London, and then what they do is pick up and drop off, digitize the pick up and drop off software. So we can digitize our operation and also customer experience as well. So we don't have to use a label. So that's that case. I found the startups through accelerator program, and then we initiated discussion last year. Now we are going to launch the service in Japan.
Wow, that's amazing. That's really cool.
Thanks.
Just a little bit more about your role, just so the audience can understand a little bit more about you. How big is your team that you work with?
Sure. Innovation team, we have we have 16 people in Japan, and in the Bay Area, just myself. So I basically do everything myself, and then that's the.
How did you get started in innovation? It clearly seems like you're invested in startups and technology. You're an investor in the space as well, through which has been aided through your work. But how did you get started in innovation? And tell me a little bit more about where did you work before Yamato, which led up to you working to Yamato?
Sure, of course. So I started my career in Japan in a startup company in Japan. Which is education services, e-learning stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, and I worked out there for 3 years as a web developer, and also the customer success role.
Okay.
So and after that, I went to Australia, and then one of my friends built a startup company, not exactly startups, but built a company, and then what they want me to do is they are going to start timber shipping services between Australia and also Vanuatu Republic and China. So like they want me to start the project and then yeah, hire the people and then yeah, as a yeah, they want me to make it as a services. So
Okay.
that's yeah, I did it for almost 1 year. And after I went back to Japan, I found that yeah, I found the Yamato's yeah, innovation team, and then they are interested in me. So like then yeah, I joined Yamato.
Okay. A few follow-up questions. So when you were first going to your friend's business, like how old were you then?
Sorry.
How old were you when you were building out your friend's business in Australia?
Uh, it was you mean how old the company?
No, how old were you? I like
Oh,
that's
okay.
a really big order for I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, sure. It was a 27. Yeah,
Wow.
27 years old.
Did you think you were like prepared for it, or what were you doing? Were you scrambling to figure?
Um, yeah, sure. It's kind of related to my current role, but I don't really think about like if I can do if I can success like all I
Mhm.
need to do is if there is a goal like I have to achieve it. So that's my friend was he knew about me, so like that's why he wanted to do that. So like I always try to achieve a goal.
Okay, so you backed yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm pretty sure that that's a very good answer. Like I'm sure a lot of people, myself included, and especially in the audience and whoever watches this from that point, like I'm pretty sure we've all been in those situations where it's just like you're a little bit too young for it, you're a little bit too green, but it's good to have that positive attitude where you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna back myself, and I think I can just do it, which is very impressive. So
Sure, sure.
the other question that I had for you there was so you said something along the lines of Yamato was interested in you. So two questions to that: why you think Yamato was specifically interested in you, and then the follow up to that would be why were you interested in Yamato?
Yeah, sure. That's a good question. So first, like the reason why I'm interested in Yamato because Yamato is a very huge company in Japan, and then like everybody know Yamato. And also like Yamato has a long history for almost like 100 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then like before I joined Yamato, I talked to Yamato people like I didn't even imagine like they're working on innovation like technology stuff because like for me like Yamato is like before I joined Yamato like delivery company like last mile company, so like I always see as trucks and then drivers, so like I didn't imagine like such innovation stuff
No.
is very yeah going on. So and then like after talk to the Yamato, like they our team already working on uh partnership with accelerators and also like venture capitalists. So yeah, I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like very old company, but they are still like, try to achieve more like create a better services.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's that's interesting. Yeah, so I had actually a few points before we like jumped ahead. But I wanted you to answer that other question too, as to why do you think that Yamato was interested in you? Like,
Oh,
what characteristics were they looking for in a candidate?
sure, of course. So first, they're looking for a person who can be a liaison between startups from the overseas and then our team.
Mm-hmm.
So the couple of capability they are looking for. So like one is speak English, and then also um the experience building a business in overseas as well. So
Mm-hmm.
that's two specific capability they were looking for, and then also like I I also have a like um experience of a freelancer, like working as a freelance
Yeah.
web developer. So like they are looking for a very um
Starter.
yeah startup type of
Yeah.
guy. Yeah, and then yeah, so maybe I think that's why. So like
Okay.
I was the right person, I think. I hope.
Okay. That's very interesting. So yeah, I wanted to ask you one more question before we jump into our other questions. Was you said something about you were talking to people about Yamato from within the company. You were having those conversations before you actually joined. Who specifically did you talk to? Was it like a targeted outreach where you were like, I want to work in innovation, so I'm gonna talk to the innovation people, or were they just like friends that you were collecting information from?
So you mean when I joined Yamato?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, actually, like open innovation team looking for people, new person. So like and then like I already had a contact with headhunter. So like yeah, they offer me to see Yamato.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so let me paint you a picture. So you have just joined Yamato. You joined Yamato about 2 years ago, but when you were first joining, how built out was their innovation department? Like, what was your first impression when you stepped into the role?
Um, it was it was interesting, but also like still developing the team, like in the middle way of yeah, developing the team. So like now like we have 16 people, but a lot of people, most of the people was from uh I mean like they have a long history of Yamato, like long experience of Yamato. Like most of people doing Yamato after graduated, and
Mhm.
then so like they have a lot of knowledge about logistics, and then also of course, and then experience, but they didn't have a different experience, like for example like timber shipping or um the startups. So
Mhm.
yeah, so that's like I thought I could help our team from the other side, like my startup experience.
Mhm. Well,
Yeah.
what specifically though? Well, what specifically do you think you would be adding to the team?
So like first like when I talk to startups, like we always want to understand like their capability, their services, but like basically like we have a lot of questions, so like we keep asking them, but
Mhm.
sometimes we we talk to we also like how to say um talk about like more like try to understand like myself, like not just having a question, like try to understand their services and how different share the opinion about express my opinion about startups. So like that's a really important important things, I guess.
Can you walk us through your first couple months in the innovation department at Yamato? What were your biggest challenges at that point?
um Talking to another business unit, that was a very difficult, because that there's Yamato has a lot of business unit, and also like bunch of people. So I I always need to find the right person who is interested in innovation, and also like who is I mean like it doesn't matter like who is interested in. I mean like I need to find the right person, and then um yeah, and also like ask try to make them understand about like how like new technology, and then like collaboration with startups is important.
Mhm.
So that was a very yeah, hard part.
Do you remember which department specifically you had a hard time speaking with at that point, if you can share?
Yeah, sure, of course. Yeah, I of course I remember that. And so like one of the team has a who was a I introduced about my role when I talked to their team, and then like I try to introduce us one startups, because I thought it was good fit, and then startups also interested in Yamato. So but the problem is like I didn't fully understand about like Yamato's culture, and also like what they how like their people, yeah, like you I didn't understand like Yamato's culture. So like they sometimes they want Yamato business unit team want to do themselves, like they don't want to, like some part they don't want to collaborate. So because of Yamato has a long history, so yeah, they want to develop business by themselves for the partially. But I didn't understand the culture, so like I try to you know working with startups, say, hey, like let's work with them, they look good. But like they told me, like hey, it's not that easy, like we have to think about very carefully, and like they understand the context, something like that. So that was yeah, that was very difficult part to understand the culture in the beginning of it, joining Yamato.
That's very interesting. Do you feel as if that's something that's only in the Japan office, or is it also in the Bay Area office? Like, do you feel as if it's different culture across the two
Yeah,
parts?
yeah, of course, that's a very different, I mean, yeah, yeah. So like it's a kind of a in Japan, like understanding company's culture, and then also like the also like understanding the right person, like the higher position people, like is really important. So yeah, sometimes I have to understand their opinion, and then also like I need to like figure it out if I share my opinion, or like I just listen them, and then not not try to push forward to yeah, my opinion.
Okay. How would
Yeah.
you contrast that to your startup days? So, for example, like what was like the review process or the approval process when you were at the startup versus Yamato? Like, what do those two processes look like?
Um, Getting Yamato's approval process is pretty long time. It's not only about Yamato, like Japanese company has a um approval process is very unique. Um, in when I was in the startups, like it's all I need to do is like go straight to CEO or like executives, and then like, hey, like hey, can we do this, like something like that, and then like explain to um the project, and or the things we I want to approve. That was like one or two steps for approve. But in Yamato, like I need to sometimes it's really depends on the case, but basic basic approval process takes like sometimes couple of months,
Wow.
especially yeah
What,
for the
what would a change look like that takes a couple of months? What would that even look like? Would it be as simple as you want to change like a letter on something as opposed to like adding a new feature? Would it be the
yeah,
same?
yeah, something like that. So like we have to develop like create a document for explaining, and then like the
Mhm.
presentation, and then need to book time for the in the for example like in the exec board member meeting, and then like we have to get agree from our board member as well.
Mhm.
So like not only a one person or like two person.
Do you feel as if that's helpful for innovation because it kind of it controls, like it adds more control as to the direction the company is actually even taking, or do you think that kind of hinders innovation because you have to wait around for such a long time?
I think most of people thinks it's not like always say like it's not really good, but I don't think it's not always bad things about it, because you know of course like taking a time is let startups we make startups waiting, but
Hmm.
the all I need to do is explain to the approval process to them, and then like try to make under you know yeah, understand the culture. And
Hmm.
also like in the other hand, it takes a time, but we can get agree from almost like whole like executives, and also like business unit if I take a time. So like once the business started, or the partnership has start, so it's most of most of cases going to be a long-term relationship. So that's a really good thing. So I think yeah.
Interesting.
So it has a both sides.
So Keiichi, so now you're in the process of building out, Yamato's innovation arm. Like you said, it wasn't too built out when you first entered it. Now you're in the process of actually building it out. What advice would you give to people in a similar position as you were 2 years ago? They've just joined their first innovation role. Maybe their company hasn't even defined what an innovation role even looks like. Uh, what steps do you think that they need to start taking today in order to get all their ducks in order?
Um, like explain to context to other parties, for example, like that the culture is a very different between startups and a corporate, especially and also like if it's Japan, like even like the country is different. So
Yeah.
like explain the context, like approval process as well, like whole explain like detail is really important, like
Mhm.
even yeah, even like most of people thinks.
Okay,
Yeah.
so your advice would be more around people management. Uh,
Yeah, people management is a really important, I guess.
okay, what do you feel as if just like documentation wise, what do you what like do all documentations in your world weigh equal amounts, or are there certain things that you wish you had a greater skill set, such as building out a business case or creating a PRD or whatever? Do you feel as if there were some skills you wish you would have had 2 years before?
Um, y- yeah, that's a difficult question. I'm not. You mean document is like the document like Word or something like that.
Yeah, just your overall skill set as like as an innovation professional.
Okay, okay. I think um, like a lot of no the understanding the ecosystem is really important, like how what startup looking for, like not only the contract, because
Hmm.
like sometimes we can even like we cannot have a partnership with startups, but we can give them advice as a the corporate company.
Hmm.
So like the needs, and then yeah, something like that. So like we can share the needs, and then even like if it doesn't work, but after maybe like after 1 year, like startups is for example like pivot they pivot their business, and then try to do more like pro um like a practical approach for current industry. So like
Hmm.
then we can there's a still opportunity to both like startups and a corporate. So like understanding those cultures it took a little time, like almost like a year, or yeah, something like that. But yeah, I guess this is a really important thing, because yeah, if it didn't work, but like people think, oh, Yamato's Kei is a good guy, like sharing opinion. So like some people introducing another opportunity to me. So like it's kind of a like good creating a good cycle.
Hmm. How much was it just like how much was it just like courage? Like do you feel as if when you first entered as compared to now, it's more your confidence has just built up, or did you feel as if it was a definite skill set change that happened?
So can you explain? Can you tell me one more time?
Yeah, so is it more of like is it more of a confidence thing that built up, or was it more of like you can see that your skill set actually built up? Is it just more you're more
Um,
confident because you understand the culture?
yeah, not only oh yeah, it's the confidence
Okay, very interesting.
confidence builder.
So Keiichi, a large part of your job at Yamato is actually integrating with other departments and just like the operations team um, and whatever. Can you speak a little bit more about what you've exactly learned from trying to do that? So yeah.
Sure. To with working with another business unit.
Yeah, so exactly. Yeah. So just like how exactly do you go about, working with like the operations team, and can you
Mm.
speak a little bit more about that?
Yeah, sure, of course. So like first, of course, I need to understand like what they try to achieve, like operation team want to achieve. So that understanding those the topics is really important. And then based on that, like I'm going to talk to startups and then like in my people in my network, and then hey, like I'm looking for this kind of startups, and then like can you those yeah those startups, and then I going to ask people. Then like if I find a right startups going to share business unit about my result of sourcing the startups. And then yeah, that's a basic process. And then I always try to explain like what is the um like core business model of a startups, and then like how uh like how much could fit with the Yamato and the startups. So like I always focusing on explain to do that.
Can you speak a little bit more about that, Keiichi? Just about how you actually go about doing that.
Sorry.
Can you speak a little bit more about what you just said, which is finding out what is the core business need or core business objective of a business. Like, how do you
Yeah,
exactly go about doing that?
yeah, sure. For example, like we have a 3PL business in Japan as well. Like not only last mile. So like and then one of the our 3PL operation mission is uh warehouse automation. So like they always say like warehouse automation, but like what is exactly what they're looking for? For example, like robot stuff, or the AGV or software side, something
Mhm.
like that. So like I always asking the question to our business unit, and then what they want to achieve, like what they want to how they want to change. And then yeah, also like based on this conversation, like I always I talk to startups, hey, like this is the pain point of our business unit, this is the problem in our current operation. And then we always not not just asking, like try to also like developing sometimes if it's possible, like startups and myself try to develop a potential new service with together, then like going to talk to our business unit. So yeah, so that's kind of a process.
That's very interesting. Can you walk me through a little bit in a little bit more detail? So like, how does this happen? So a business unit either reaches out to you or you reach out to the business unit. How does that work?
Basically I reach out to a business unit.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what would that conversation look like? I'm assuming the first conversation would be through an email, or are you like, or do you send off like a form and you're collecting information, or is it like a face-to-face conversation? How does that process work?
Sure, of course. It's a couple of ways, but basically, like I talk to innovation team people, and then
Mhm.
like ask them like who is the right person, and then like and then they make an introduction, because like our innovation team in Japan also has a role as a uh, category of a technology and then business model. So for example, like if it's automation about automation. Like we have a people who is also like counterpart of automation uh, in an open innovation team. So like I ask them about like who is the right person. Then like he make an introduction between me and business unit people, them having a yeah Zoom meeting, something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So there's this thing in Apple. I'll tell you a little story about Steve Jobs, who's one of my idols. So when he was actually designing like the Apple building, which is like the Halo,
Mm.
um, in Cupertino. So when he was actually designing that, he actually only wanted two washrooms. So what would happen is that everyone would need to go to the same washroom. So there was going to be a men's washroom and a women's washroom. And so everybody going to the washroom would need to go to the exact same one. And what he was hoping to achieve was synergy. So these people would talk to each other, and they would come up with ideas. He did the exact same thing at Pixar and other things. So that's very interesting because that's something that you can really afford as working so far away from your exact team. So that's why I wanted to kind of get some more tips on how you're actually doing it remote, because I feel as if this is going to become the normal for everybody. Everyone's gonna we're gonna miss out on these intimate moments where we get to go to the office and speak to one department or another. It's all going to happen online. So do you have some strategies, since you've been doing it for such a long time, to actually get these sparks going?
Yeah, sure, of course. The first, I like I have a kind of a unique experience, like freelance,
Hmm.
as a freelancer, and also like working overseas, like Vanuatu Republic, which is a very small country, and
Yeah.
then so like I always tell my stories, and also like the first I try to spend a first 10 or 15 minutes, like which is pretty long for introducing, but yeah, like sharing my experience before Yamato, so that and it's kind of like ice breaking time, because like most of it I always try to like think about like the operation team is not always interested in innovation, like sometimes they just want to focusing on that um their current operation. But so like there's kind of a like big wall between the operation team and an innovation team. So like I always try to being a good friend with them, and then like try like sharing interesting my story
Hmm.
for yeah, for icebreaking, because it's going to be a long-term relationship. So yeah.
That's very
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, it would be very unique if someone comes up with like an AI powered tool which helps you meet the right people at the right time. In any case, that's a far off dream. I just wanted to let everyone know who is still available at this attending this webinar live. In about 3 minutes, we're gonna jump into Q&A from you guys. I've seen that you guys have sent over a couple of questions. So if you guys have any questions, get them in soon, and we're going to be answering them with Keiichi. But before then, Keiichi, I wanted to kind of jump into another topic, and it was around COVID and just the pandemic in general. So I wanted to know a little bit about the COVID has affected every single industry in one way or another,
Mhm.
for better or worse, essentially. How has Yamato and specifically the innovation team at Yamato had to adjust because of the pandemic?
Sure, of course. So yeah, first of all, like so our schedule was like we were thinking about, like, for example, like the drone or drone delivery or robot delivery is going to um come maybe like around 5 years, like it's gonna be a like mid or long term type of technology, I mean delivery model. But after COVID, like obviously people want to kind of like contactless, people looking for contactless services. So
Yeah.
we push it forward to focusing on those drone and drone delivery, and also robot delivery. So like our project was kind of a accelerated for those two topics.
Hmm.
That's a one thing. And also like in Japan, I mean logistics company was like very manual, so like we people always using writing a label, and then using a paper, something like that. But and also like there is a still like people when you receive a parcel, like you need to sign in Japan, you need it to have yeah, sign. But
Okay.
right after COVID, like we stopped those, like UPS, we stopped the sign requesting a sign.
Mhm. Okay,
So
that's
he
very
was
interesting.
oh,
How,
yeah.
how do you see your specific role changing post COVID? Where are you going to be spending more time? Where are you going to be spending less time?
Spending more time and expanding our team as well.
Oh, so like my question was, so once COVID passes, how
Hmm.
do you see your role changing? Like, where are you going to be spending more time? Where are you going to be spending less time?
Oh,
Yeah, so like in your day-to-day roles, like what are you going to be changing post COVID that was normal before?
yeah, sure. So before like I spending time for um yeah, like talking to I mean that's a difficult question.
Hmm.
Before that,
Because you're remote, so I don't think much
yeah,
changes. But is
I
there any?
mean yeah, try to spend more time with operation team in Japan, like also like our I mean like our business unit,
Mhm,
because so like before COVID, like I always traveling around, like spending time with the startups, and then um the but after COVID, like everything is changed, like so like the interesting is also like different, and then um always kind of a day-to-day changing, like yesterday like they were interested in this, but tomorrow like it's going to be changed. So like
mhm.
I always try to catch up their requests.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. So Keiichi, we're gonna jump into some Q&A. We have about three of them, and if we have time, we'll go back to the other questions. So the first question comes from the audience. How can a startup pitch to Yamato? What are you guys really looking for?
Sure, sure, of course. So we want, of course, like we want to understand like basic like the startup services, but especially like I'm focusing on um how 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 big is the team, and then like team's background, the reason why the reason why they started this business, like that's kind of core. So like what is the pain point? That's always what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Yeah.
So pain point. Can we expand a little bit more on that? So how would they get in touch with you guys? Who would they get in touch with? What since it is a very like traditional historical company, are there any things that they should watch out for, which might not be so obvious?
Sorry, can you explain that again, please?
Sure. So my question was like, could you expand a little bit more on that? So like, if they are coming up with new technology,
Mhm.
who specifically would they reach out to? Are there specific people in the company who are designated towards these kind of inquiries? What would they reach out with? Like a slide deck or something else, or and how long would this entire process take, in your opinion?
Oh, I see, I see. Yes. So like first, like having a meeting, and then like the also like with a slide, and then after I talk to startups, then like I make an introduction to our business unit. Then yeah. So like basically like they most of the business unit looking for the reason why the startups started this business, for example, like what is the context, and also like the use case with a corporate in overseas, and also like if yeah in Japan as well, like uh and then the third one is um how startups solve the companies pain point.
Mhm.
Yeah, so those three topics is most of people looking for focusing on.
Awesome. The next question is, what can innovation professionals do right now to communicate and collaborate with other departments, like today? Like, what's some advice you would give for someone today that they can use?
um um I think yeah, there's two ways. Like I always I write a repo every week. Like, it's not like, huge stuff, like it's small repo, like, what I met this kind of a startups, and then like, the trend of Bay Area, and trend of logistics in the US, something like that. And then like sharing my thoughts to business unit, and also like innovation team. So there's definitely people who is interested in those, new things, like new technologies, like new business. So yeah, like output is the most important things for innovation team, innovation professional, I guess.
Okay, that's so interesting, and that's not part of your job outline. Like you don't have to do that.
Yeah, that's not, yeah, that I don't have to do that. But now, like, since I started, um, so like first, like I just reported to my boss in Japan, but now like I reported to our CEO, group CEO, and also like our group company CEO as well, and key person to in a business unit. So like some people having an interest in, so like I shared my report. Then like some other people from Yamato sharing my report to in their team. So it's a creating a good cycle, and then yeah, sharing yeah.
So that's very interesting because that is something you can start doing today. But I imagine the payoff is like the big payoff is somewhere down the line, because now you're on so many people's radars, and you're becoming the person who's informed. So that's very very interesting. Um, I had one more question. What type of startups are you looking for, and why? So the question is, what kind of startups are currently on your radar, and why are you looking at those specific startups? If you can share that.
Yeah, sure. Okay, most startups, I mean, what interest is um related to last mile delivery, for example, like um pick up and drop off services, or the automation of a delivery, for example, like drones or
Mhm.
robots. Yeah, those area we are looking for, and specifically, we currently looking for who building a net infrastructure of a drone delivery, not drone itself. Because like we're thinking about in the future, like if we are going to use a drone delivery, so we need to build a drone delivery infrastructure first.
Mhm.
So I'm looking for the partner. Yeah.
That's very interesting. So we're coming up to almost about time. I wanted to jump into our quick fire questions, and then we can both sign off. Is that okay with you?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, sure, of course.
Um, so the first quick fire question is, what is something innovation leaders should stop doing tomorrow? They should stop doing.
Um, stop doing. Um, stop caring about like how like another, I mean, yeah, another people feel. For example, like hey, some people like doesn't like not very understand about like technologies, or like doesn't feel like necessary to for innovation in their operation, but try to keep sharing own opinion. So
Oh,
like then like, yeah, because sometimes people don't want to sharing opinion to a negative uh people feeling negative. But yeah, keep pushing that.
okay,
I
interesting.
think that's important. Yeah.
Proportionality. That's interesting. Well, what is something innovation leaders should start doing tomorrow? They should absolutely start doing tomorrow.
um right write a description, like you met startup you met, because like it's going to be a kind of a database, and also like you 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 can understand the their services, and also like find out opportunity. It's good for sharing your idea to business unit.
Yeah, that's an excellent suggestion, because not only are you building up a reservoir of like your knowledge, but you're also disseminating it across your entire organization. That in itself could be innovation. You're innovating how you are talking to the people around you. So yeah, that's very interesting. Do you have any tricks or tips for sharpening your innovation mindset? Is there anything you do? Meditate, jog? I don't know. Listen to music.
Uh, uh, I love workout. So like yeah, yeah, cause I like yeah, do I'm not sure like this is it's for me like I love winning. So like I try to win something every day. Like for example, that's okay if it's a video game or like sports or whatever. But yeah, I try to achieve small things almost like every day. So that's yeah, that's what we should do, I guess.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What is the most interesting digital trend in your industry that is likely to take off in the next year?
Next year. Obviously, yeah, track and trace, visibility platform type of services, and also like drone, robot. Those I guess it's going to be a very focused on in our logic industry.
Well, what about the next 5 to 10 years?
Next 5 to 10 years, yeah, I think the next 5 to 10 years, like drone is a definitely like interesting area, because like UPS, Walmart, Amazon started to pilot program of drone delivery in the United States.
Mhm.
So like United States, for drone delivery, one in United States is one of the very challenging regulation.
Mhm.
So but even that, like they started this year, I think obviously because of the COVID-19. So like in next 5 to 10 years, like it's going to be expanding. Those technologies is going to be more like popular, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Keiichi, I want to firstly thank you so much for hopping on this call and just enlightening us with all your knowledge.